today's episode, who destroyed the dam? According to propagandists, the West and arms supplies are to blame. Ukrainians abroad, another propaganda manipulation around a sensitive social issue. The embassy of Ukraine in Estonia allegedly informed Ukrainian citizens that they are being summoned to a 2-week training camp for reservists. Queuing up for inheritance, Ukraine is supposedly claiming the billions of the late Silvio Berlusconi. Our analytical team at Detector Media is on constant watch, tracking the spread of the boldest fakes from Kremlin propaganda. I'm Vadym Miskyi, and for the next 10 minutes I will guide you through the key facts. Let's get started. Western arms supplies allowed Ukraine to destroy the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. This fake is being promoted by Kremlin propagandists. The EU versus Disinfo project took a closer look at the message. They found out that this is a groundless accusation. The goal is to promote the narrative that Western military support only prolongs the war and civilian suffering. The White House reminded that it was Russia that occupied Ukrainian territory, including the dam.
And as I mentioned, the dam also helps power the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. So, in addition to loss of life and livelihoods, its destruction could very well have a devastating impact on Ukraine's energy security, and it will certainly have an impact on Ukraine's canal system. So we're in touch, as I said, with Ukrainian authorities on how we can provide assistance to the many Ukrainians who have been displaced and forced to flee their homes for safety. We'll continue to work with humanitarian partners on the ground to supply aid. Russia's unprovoked war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact on the Ukrainian people and brought terrible suffering to them. We will continue to support Ukraine in any way we can, including through military, humanitarian, and economic support.
It is Russia that is causing significant environmental damage and killing thousands of people.
Внаслідок обстрілу окупантів постраждали рятувальники. Вони займались ліквідацією наслідків російського теракту на Каховський ГЕС і були обстріляні російською ж артилерією. 8 співробітників ДСНС були поранені. Один, на жаль, загинув. Мої співчуття рідним і близьким. Українські воїни обов'язково дадуть відповідь терористам на всю цю підлість. Кожен такий російський удар, кожен російський теракт – це щоразу аргумент, що немає і не буде в окупантів ніяких шансів залишитись десь на українській землі. Вбивцям і терористам тут місця немає і ніколи не буде.
In turn, NATO promises to increase its support for Ukraine by 500 million euros, said the Secretary General of the Alliance.
And let me also thank the US Congress and the people of America for the strong support to Ukraine. And you just made a new announcement of additional US support, and that is something which is very much welcomed. European allies and Canada are also doing their part with tens of billions in military and economic support for Ukraine. And the support that we are providing together to Ukraine is now making a difference on the battlefield as we speak. Because the offensive is launched and the Ukrainians are making progress, making advances.
Russia blew up the dam. In particular, this is supported by data on seismic activity in the vicinity of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant recorded by the Norwegian seismic station in Romania, as well as by Ukrainian intelligence. Half an hour before the attack, the Russians began to withdraw their troops from the facility. Carefully collected evidence and testimonies proving Russia's guilt and responsibility were gathered by the New York Times journalists, and if you have not yet read this article, I strongly encourage you to do so. Mercenaries were being recruited in the UK for the Ukrainian counteroffensive. This is another fake from Russian propagandists. The supposed evidence is an advertisement for the EU citizenship program on the Adzuna job search site. According to the Stop Fake fact-checkers, the UK did not recruit mercenaries to Ukraine through the Adzuna website. Moreover, Adzuna's CEO, Doug Munro, said that his site was a victim of Russian disinformation about the war. After the message began to spread among the military, the Sunday Times contacted Adzuna. The company immediately removed the ad and contacted the police. Meanwhile, London is stepping up military support for Kyiv. Ukraine will receive $3 billion worth of support, the British Prime Minister announced.
We will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes for them to continue and to win this war. We'll also stand with them as they win the peace and harness all of that ingenuity and defiance to build the future that they deserve. The question for us today is, what can we do to support this, to fast-track recovery and help Ukraine unleash its potential? It's clear Russia must pay for the destruction that they've inflicted. So we're working with allies to explore lawful routes to use Russian assets. And on Monday, we published new legislation to allow us to keep sanctions in place until Russia pays up. But beyond that, we must bring to bear a partnership of governments, international financial institutions, and business leaders, all of us here today, to make this happen. The British government will continue to play its full part, and I'm proud that today we're announcing a multi-year commitment to support Ukraine's economy.
Propagandists regularly spread similar fakes. The goal is to make it appear that Russia is not really at war with Ukraine, but with the so-called collective West. Another manipulation by propagandists regarding a sensitive social issue: the Ukrainians living abroad. The Ukrainian embassy in Estonia has supposedly informed its citizens that they are being summoned to a 2-week training camp for reservists of the Estonian army. Those who refuse will allegedly be deported. This is a fake. Vox Czech analysts took note of the case. They pointed out that according to the local law on defense, foreigners are exempt from the obligation to join the army. By reporting on the alleged mobilization of Ukrainians in Estonia, the Russians want to sow discord between the two countries. In reality, Tallinn systematically supports Kyiv. In particular, Estonia has provided Ukraine with military aid worth more than 400 million euros.
Отже, я не хочу жити в світі, де треба вести діалог з дітовбивцями, з тими, хто бомбардує лікарні, дитячі садки, школи. Їхнє місце за ґратами. Злочин має дістати гідне покарання. Після агресії ми маємо зосередитися на підзвітності. Злочини проти людства, геноцид, воєнні злочини, злочин агресії ніколи не мусять залишитися без кари, і ми маємо почати від самої верхівки. Міжнародна громада підтримує створення міжнародного спеціального трибуналу. Ми про це також згадали в нашій розмові, для того, щоб правосуддя взяло гору.
In late June, the Estonian government decided to grant another package of military aid to Ukraine. The package includes a field hospital, equipment for paramedics and sappers, and anti-drone equipment for the Ukrainian armed forces. Finally, a masterpiece of creativity from Kremlin propaganda. Imagine Ukraine through the lips of Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba demanding the transfer of Silvio Berlusconi's inheritance. The reports claim that Kyiv allegedly voiced this demand after the death of the former Italian Prime Minister. The only thing that is true about these reports is that Berlusconi was a friend of Putin's.
Безусловно, это был политик европейского, можно сказать, и мирового масштаба. Таких людей сейчас на международной арене немного. Он был большим другом нашего народа и многое сделал для того, чтобы сложились деловые, дружеские отношения между Россией и европейскими странами.
According to the Stop Fake fact-checkers, Dmytro Kuleba did not say anything about Berlusconi's heritage. Let me remind you that Berlusconi was known for his controversial statements about the Russian-Ukrainian war. He, in particular, accused Volodymyr Zelensky of the fact that Russia had invaded Ukraine. Already during the full-scale war, Berlusconi has said that if Zelensky had stopped attacking the two autonomous republics of the Donbass, the war would not have started. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry responded by saying that Berlusconi was spreading pro-Kremlin narratives. Propagandists honored him on the day of his death.
Он был богат, а значит независим, а это всегда и всех раздражало. Сам решал, с кем Италии дружить, не спрашивая советов. Семерку в большую восьмерку превратил он в свой первый срок на посту премьера. За Россию ему, конечно, досталось не раз. И даже за эти кадры из Крыма, уже российского, в 2015-м.
However, this does not give Kyiv any grounds to claim Berlusconi's inheritance. It will go to the Italian politicians' children. Propagandists are actively focusing their efforts on the topic of the forced seizure of Russian assets. Putin didn't get to attend the funeral of his close friend Berlusconi. After all, as soon as he sets foot on Italian soil, he will immediately be arrested. I'm confident that we are all going to see the Russian dictator in the International Criminal Court anyway, well, or in Silvio Berlusconi's place. Good luck and glory to Ukraine.